Y'all get ready?
Yes, you get ready.
If you want the latest news in the streets, join us and tune in for the tea. Breaking news with integrity. So tell your friends and your family. It's the Lovelyti TV show, bringing you good tea and good vibes. It's the Lovelyti TV show. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe.
Hey, tea sippers. I hope everybody's hanging in there. I know it's a lot going on globally. I'm going to try and go live tomorrow. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and talk about this tendernism situation. As you guys know, I did a live stream last week, and I talked about how UNC ended up starting a new page on Instagram, and he wanted everybody to follow him. And then shortly after that, they also started a GoFundMe for him, and the GoFundMe had reached $20,000. So a lot of people were trying to figure out, what is going on? Is he still with Destination Smokehouse? Is he not with them? Well, somebody ended up asking UNC directly, and he came out and he admitted that he's no longer with Destination Smokehouse. So we're going to go ahead and watch that video right now.
A question I think everybody's been wanting to know is, are you still at Destination Smokehouse?
No, I'm not. I'm not at Destination Smokehouse. I'm with Tendernism now. I had to go on my own, so that way I can do what I have to do. So I don't want nobody to be, it is what it is. You got to move on. When things happen, you don't get mad. Hey, you just take another step. Get glad. Praise the Lord, you're still living. But I'm finna tenderize the world now. Hey, they should have never. But it is what it is, y'all. And keep, hey, family out there, y'all keep supporting me. And I guarantee you, I ain't gonna do you wrong. Booyah.
So y'all just heard what Mr. Tendernism had to say. And basically, he low-key was saying that it felt like some folks did him wrong and it was time to go. And, he's taking his show on the road. And then shortly after that, Mr. Tendernism was booked to cook for Ron Isley and Ron Isley's wife. And so this video went viral over the weekend all over social media. Check this out. So it's clearly obvious that Mr. Ron Isley and his wife love Mr. Tendernism's food, okay? And I thought it was amazing that they gave him a shot to, come and cook for them and do his thing in the kitchen. And all parties seemed very happy and satisfied. Well, then over the weekend, I believe it was that Sunday, Tendernism also met with the lawyer that had applied for the trademark for him. If you guys remember, I also spoke about Attorney Harris. He's the one who saw the writing on the wall. He went and applied for the Tendernism trademark, and he gave it to UNC this past weekend. So let's check this out as well.
I'm with Tendernism now. Here I am today. Attorney Harris reached out, talked to me. We have a meeting. He's the original owner of Tendernism under the trademark. And today, he said, well, I'm gonna get the trademark to you. And here he is. Boy, look, Attorney Harris.
Yes, sir.
Man, you don't know the appreciation. Things have been happening. God is good.
God is good. God is good.
It wouldn't have happened.
Yes, sir.
If it weren't for him. And now look at it. Hey, family, see how we reach out and touch? Long time coming, but time is here.
Well, I just want to thank you all for all that you've done for the community. You're a magnificent inspiration to us. And it is time for our community to work together to do big things economically. And it is an absolute honor to begin the process of transferring those trademarks over to you, because you deserve it, you created it, and you've created something very, very special for our community. So, hey, look, we ready to roll. Let's go, man.
Hey, man, look at here. This tendernism, boy. I'm finna really out. I'm finna have some fun. I'm finna tenderize the United States. And I say one thing to that. Booyah. My man.
Amen.
I love that for Unc, and blessings to Attorney Harris for being forward thinking and getting that trademark once he's seen this blowing up, because it looks like there were people around him who didn't necessarily have Unc's best interest in mind. So let me take y'all back to how we even got here. If you guys remember, everything started getting exposed about a month and a half ago when Keith Lee, the food reviewer, decided to pull up to Destination Smokehouse and basically go and surprise him with a visit and try the food. When he got there, he wasn't able to see Unc, but he wanted to leave Unc some money. He wanted to leave him $4,000, okay, and another $1,000 to people that were going to eat after Keith Lee. And the bodyguards basically told him that he's doing a podcast, he's not available, and that he couldn't leave Unc the money. And so Keith Lee kind of felt funny about that. He ended up giving the money to other people. And so then they decided to go on Willie D's podcast. And like I said, I felt nothing but ego, anger, and jealousy from the owner, Nick. The way he was speaking, you could tell he was not happy that Keith Lee solely gave that money to Unc. So let me go ahead and refresh y'all's memory.
To offer a tip to a business owner was crazy. That was the other thing too, is like he really thinks Walt is like this helpless guy who needs his help. How are you going to tip a business owner? Tip the whole staff.
So you guys just heard a bit of that commentary. Like I said, I did a whole video on this. You guys can go back and watch it. But his energy that he came off to me as selfish, narcissistic, and that he was upset that Unc was becoming bigger than the program. And people are looking at Unc as the owner of the restaurant as opposed to Nick. But what's very interesting is before Unc really started blowing up, Nick was saying that they were partners and they were looking out for each other. Let's check out this video.
Walt and I became together and we became partners after about 4 years of working with each other. He's the only reason why this place does barbecue. He's the original pitmaster, recipe maker, everything. I owe him everything. That's why he became a partner. When I took over the cooking, because
he gave his own partner when he came up with stuff. I want to be like me. I want to be better than me. So he got this. It's called Bristol. Booyah! Now what I'm trying to tell y'all. Okay. You ain't got to believe me. Stop that. You ain't got.
Walt and I became together and we became.
So you guys see that? How he's explaining the backstory. He's claiming that they're partners. And Walt is a little bit too busy dancing and shucking for me. And he's not understanding just because somebody calls you a partner, legally, are you a partner? Are you getting paid partner wages? And that's what people are really concerned about, is that what does that paperwork look like? Not that it's the public's business, but people felt like Mr. Walter, a.k.a. Unc, his mind wasn't really on the business. He was more on the friendship and having fun cooking and not looking at this in the long term. So now what's very interesting is that Keith Lee did an interview with Big Boy Radio 2 days ago, and he spoke on the situation of Destination Smokehouse and, Unc and him giving Unc the money. So Keith Lee had a lot to say about this. We're going to go ahead and watch that interview right now.
What happened with Tendernism?
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, man.
So we went, that was the most highly requested place that we have had since we started. Easily over 30,000 requests to go and try the food over at Tendernism. Mm-hmm. I was drawn to Unc. Unc is Walter. I believe his name is Walter Johnson, right? Is that right?
We'll get it. Go ahead.
Okay.
But it is Walter.
I believe it is Walter.
Yeah.
So Walter is what initially made me want to go, because his energy was infectious, and that's his name? Okay. Yeah. His energy to me immediately reminded me of an uncle.
Yeah,
and
man.
You can't fake that. So it's like we were saying earlier, it's one thing to be able to turn it on and turn it off, but us, we know what it is and what it ain't.
He's like that in the dark, in the light,
you
camera
can tell
on, camera
it ain't
off.
nothing that he can put on, right? Mm-hmm. So that initially was what made us want to go, and it was something that we had tried, because people don't realize how far that is from damn near anything else, unless you want to specifically go there, or unless you from there.
Dude, we here and it's far from here.
That's where we was in LA.
Yeah, man.
And I'm thinking, if we fly into LA, we gonna be able to get there, and it wouldn't be. It was a 3-hour drive to get over there. And when we got there, we went. I always have my family go in first to get the customer service experience, because again, it could be different if I go in. We got the food. The food, in my opinion, was good. Was it amazing? I wouldn't say so.
Right.
I think there were certain parts of it that were amazing. Like the oxtails were incredible. Some of the best oxtails I've ever had in my life. But the beef rib that was infamous for falling off the bone, it was a slice, allegedly, it was a slice in the back, to where if you pick it up, the entire thing falls off.
Right.
Instead of it just
we heard
sliced.
that too.
Yeah, instead of it just coming off.
You didn't know that? I thought I heard that from you.
I didn't.
Yeah, they said it's pre-cut.
It was for sure. Yeah,
slice.
on.
Damn, Lou, I thought I got
But
that
the
from you.
oxtails were as tender as he said. As
gotcha.
falling
You
off
got
bone,
me into
sliding, for
tendernism.
sure.
Yeah,
So
no,
I
I
thought
didn't-
for sure
I
that
did
you
not
knew.
know
Oh,
that.
okay. I thought I got that from you.
We went. We had the food. Right after we got done eating, I attempted to go in and have a conversation with Unc. Again, we don't call beforehand. We don't set up meetings. We don't set up no times, because the same experience that everybody else gets, I want the same experience. So when we went in, I just want to have a conversation with him, which I understand. Everybody gets busy. Schedules are different, right? So we went in. His security said he is in a podcast and he is not available. So I said, okay, is there a way that we could just leave him a tip? The plan was to leave him $4,000, and leave $1,000. I initially had $5,000 cash. I want to leave $1,000 to pay for anybody to come in line after us, and then $4,000 directly to Unc. And it wasn't from a place of I felt like Unc was struggling or Unc needed it. It was a way to say thank you for what you do for our community.
Right.
We know what that is. We know how important it is to have strong Black old men that are positive role models in the community, and that bring laughter and bring joy and bring energy to us, because it's not a lot of times where we have that representation for older Black men.
Right.
And I think it's getting less and less the more we get in media. I haven't seen a lot of old Black men with gray beards that are fun and can joke with a bunch of different cultures and bring cultures together. So that's why I wanted to leave them the money. Security pretty much told us it was over with. It was done for the day. It was no way that we was going to be able to have a conversation with them. So we end up leaving. We end up passing that entire $4,000 out to the community. We stood in front of Destination Smokehouse. We met a lady who was driving. She was riding a bike, and she had a stroller attached to her bike, and she said that she was taking her niece to school back and forth. So we left her $1,000. It was a lady who had just lost her dad that cried the second she saw us. We left her $1,000. We met a lady who was a cheesecake. She made cheesecake, like a bakery owner, and she was making cheesecakes by hand and packing them, and she was there the entire time we was there for 3 or 4 hours. We left her $1,000, and we met another lady who also we had a full conversation with, left her $1,000, and then we left. A video comes out maybe a week later or 2 weeks later, and it's the owner of Destination Smokehouse saying that I was basically, I'm paraphrasing, but I was trying to do charity to Unc, and I was singling him out, and I shouldn't have singled out a business owner. I should have given the money to every person around that was inside the business. Bunch of nonsense in my opinion. And that it was something that I did on my end that was negatively affecting things, even though I just honestly gave my opinion. And it had nothing to do with the food. They were saying that because I didn't give Nick, who was the owner, the $4,000, that was part of the issue.
Yeah,
and I didn't see it that way. I still don't, to this day, don't see it that way.
Neither do I, bro. And I think Unc moved on.
Yeah,
and I think they trying to lock up on Tendernism name. And then I just saw afterwards. I just saw some
all this stuff.
And I just saw some disturbing videos from Old Boy too.
And he started doing the
man. It was just a lot, bro.
But I had a conversation with Unc. We talked about it, and things got misconstrued, of course. And Unc is exactly who you think he is. I got on the phone with him, and the first thing he said was tendernism.
Yeah.
Literally, the first thing he didn't say hello, he didn't say hey, he said tendernism. So we had a conversation about doing something in the future. We haven't fully locked that down what that is, but just know that if I was to ever do something, it's from my heart. And I genuinely enjoy what he brings to the table, just from a personality standpoint. And I stand for the underdog. I stand for the people who aren't blessed enough to have a visibility spot. And if I'm blessed enough to have that spot and visibility, I will not go to sleep knowing that there's people around me that don't have it, that can't have it. And I'm going to pass it around.
So y'all just heard what Keith Lee had to say, and this is why I love Keith Lee. We made the right person famous. You know, Keith Lee did nothing wrong in that instance. Like I said, what that was, his response was nothing but ego, anger, and narcissism. You know, Keith Lee wanted to bless Unc. He didn't say Unc was poor. He didn't say he was broke. He wanted to leave him a tip. He wanted to leave him a blessing that he felt like leaving him out of his own heart. And Keith Lee has the right to do that. So I'm glad he was able to get a hold of Unc on his own and talk to him, and they were able to make things right. But now what's crazy, because the Keith Lee interview's out, it came out 2 days ago. Unc is saying that he done left Destination Smokehouse. So Nick decides to do a quick video in the car because he's starting to get blowback. So this is the first video that Nick did in the car. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys this video now.
Hey, good morning, guys. This is for our new Facebook followers. Thank you, everybody who's been showing us all the support. We've had a huge follow on Instagram for about 4 years now. Go back and check the content. You'll see a lot of our history. Walt's been a part of this business with me for about 3 of those 5 years. He's been in a lot of videos. We've done a lot of great stuff together. Walter's my brother and my partner. I really do appreciate the support, but there's a small fraction of people that are just looking for reasons to find why is this young white guy taking advantage of this old black guy who taught him everything that he knows. It's not like that. Walt is probably the smartest guy I know. No one on earth could ever play him. Number 2, Walt will be the first person to tell you that Nick knows what the hell he's doing with this food, and if you want, just test him. But Walt and I are a great partnership. I love him, and we're doing great things out here in Hemet, soon to be Murrieta too. Come check us out. Thank you all for the support. Have a great morning. See you soon.
So as you see, Nick posted that because now Nick is trying to move towards Facebook because the drama on Instagram is insane. He's getting drug all over his Instagram page, and I don't think he can handle it anymore. So that was him driving to Destination Smokehouse. And once he started getting drug in the comments, then he decided to make a full kind of, sit down on camera video. So we're going to go ahead and watch that. And I'm also going to show you the comments that people are also saying to Nick as well.
Morning. My name's Nick, and recently there's been a lot of conversations about Destination Smokehouse that don't fully represent our history or what we stand for. Today, I want to speak directly to our supporters about Walter Johnson and his involvement with Destination Smokehouse. Walter was never asked to leave. The application to register the trademark for Tendernism was not filed without his knowledge. Walter was an early source of inspiration for me, and I've always been grateful for that. We've shared so many genuine moments together, talking about barbecue and bonding over the craft that we both love. These moments were filled with camaraderie and mutual respect. Today, I'm proud of Walter for having the courage to go after his own dreams. It takes heart. I respect anyone who chooses to build something of their own, and I wish him nothing but the best. The barbecue community is really small. Guys, we all know each other, and as small business owners, I feel it's our responsibility to support one another and celebrate the craft that brings people together through our food. It's always been about great food and the spirit of the community with barbecue, and that's what Destination Smokehouse will always stand for. We're grateful for the support of our guests and our team and the barbecue community. We will remain focused on moving forward with respect, positivity, and a shared purpose. Thank you, guys.
So y'all just heard what Nick had to say about the entire situation. So I'm going to go ahead and read you guys some of these comments. Somebody says here, unfollowism, cancelism, blockism, reportism. Somebody else says cancelism. This person says, to be honest, bro, Walter deserves way more. He did not just help put that spot on the map. He single-handedly put it on the map. Let's be real. All those customers came because of Walter. Without him, this would have just been another regular barbecue spot that nobody was checking for. Let's not water it down like he merely encouraged you. He told you to open the barbecue spot. He saw something in you, he believed in you, and gave you the direction to do it. If Walter never stepped in, you'd still be serving coffee. So ask yourself honestly, would you even have this successful barbecue restaurant if it was not for Walter? And I think what this person said, he made a beautiful point. Walter played an intricate part in even encouraging him to stop serving coffee and to get into the barbecue business. Somebody else says, y'all still bluffing. He still got 1.1 million. When y'all gonna unfollow? Somebody else says, I'm glad you posted. I forgot to unfollow. This person says, dude doesn't even know how to read the room. No wonder things are going downhill. His awareness is a negative 15. This person says, ChatGPT sounds more genuine. Another person says, I love that our culture made you and our culture broke you. Another person says, great companies offer revenue share and a pathway to ownership/partnership, especially if they were the catalyst in the massive exposure that put your restaurant on the radar. It's sad that y'all didn't offer him real compensation, real equity, not cheap talk on the internet. We see right through this disingenuous behavior. When it comes to food, especially things like soul food, barbecue, Southern cooking, a lot of that has Black, African American cultural influence in it. And it's really sad that historically, time and time again, these situations keep happening to Black cooks. Just like I talked about the whole Paula Deen situation and how she treated her Black cook, Miss Dora Charles.
The reason why this whole Destination Smokehouse Tendernism situation doesn't surprise me is because it's the same thing that happened with Paula Deen and Dora Charles. So Dora Charles worked with Paula Deen for like 22 years, alongside her, not under her, alongside her as a chef in the kitchen. And Paula Deen promised this woman, if I get rich, I'm taking you with me. If I get to the top, we both get to the top. But in exchange, Paula Deen wanted this woman's recipes, and she gave it to her. Gave Paula Deen all of her recipes, taught her how to cook and everything. Paula Deen ended up writing cookbooks using this woman's recipes. She ended up getting Food Network deals with this woman's recipe. And guess how much this woman made while she was working in Paula Deen's kitchen? $10 an hour. $10 an hour. And then she didn't even sue Paula Deen. Paula Deen got sued, but it wasn't by her. It was by somebody else who sued Paula Deen for hostile work environment and racism, because she heard Paula Deen over talking, saying that she wanted Black chefs and Black waitresses to cater like a wedding or a party she was having for one of her kids or whatever, and she wanted them to dress like slaves. But it just goes to show that people from that decade, people from that time, they lived differently. They don't question like superiority, especially when it comes to somebody who was white. And Tendernism, aka, he's not the person to question it. Like, I bet you right now, he doesn't see anything wrong with the situation. He doesn't see anything wrong with it. He doesn't see that there is a power imbalance. He doesn't understand that, because to him, it's not clicking. We see it because we grew up in a different time. We've educated ourselves and we're more self-aware. But people like him and people like Dora Charles, who never sued Paula Deen, who still to this day will say and kind of admit that Paula really didn't do nothing to her. The only reason she spoke about it is because it came out. They don't see any wrong in what happened. They don't see they were treated wrong. They don't see it, and they probably never will.
A lot of times these Black cooks and these Black creators, they help to build the brands, they help to cook the food, put the recipes together, and yet they end up being pushed into the background, while the white folks like Paula Deen and Nick, they get the fame and they get the profits from the hard work that Black people put behind the scenes. On top of Paula Deen, I've also told you guys the story of Wally Amos and the famous Amos cookie brand. We've also talked about Jack Daniels and who really created that, and how he was the person who invented the drink. But the person who gets credit for it, who got the generational wealth, was a white man. But Jack Daniels was created by a Black man. I did a whole video breakdown on this on my channel over 2 years ago. These stories are not rare, and this happens all the time in not only the restaurant business, but in music, in fashion, and in entertainment. Sometimes the talent and creativity come from one place, but the ownership ends up going elsewhere. So this is why people are upset, and this is why people are asking questions. And this is why a lot of people are not believing his story when he says that him and Walter worked hand in hand on the trademark. Because if that's the case, you know, why when Attorney Harris filed, you guys try to file afterwards because you didn't realize that Attorney Harris had filed. And when they pulled up the receipts for the original filing, that original filing only showed Nick's name. it only showed Destination Smokehouse. Walter's name was not on that trademark whatsoever, which is insane because he's the one who created the word tendernism. Nobody was saying that before it went viral. So for Nick to try and take onus of it is insane. And maybe Walter told him to do the paperwork and fill it out, because Walter didn't want to be bothered. But I don't really believe that story. I think Nick thought he was going to be slick, trademark it, start selling merch and everything else, and he was caught red-handed, and that is what caused the conflict between him and Walter to escalate. To now where you have Walter going off on his own and doing his own thing. Because again, if everything was all copacetic and everything was cool, why didn't he tag Walter? Why didn't he tag Walter's new Instagram on that Instagram post? Why didn't he say, y'all go follow Walter? Y'all make sure y'all check out his website. He didn't really shout out Walter at all or, lead his millions of followers to also go follow Unc, aka Mr. Tenderism's Instagram page. Because he knows he doesn't want that competition. It seemed like Walter was just happy to be there. He didn't really understand, the nuances or the economic impact or, the contractual part of it, which is okay. He's an older gentleman. He just wants to cook and enjoy the rest of his life, and I can't blame him for that. But it seems like Nick took advantage of that. At the end of the day, let's not get it twisted. Unc is the one who built this huge following. And wherever he goes from here, the folks are going to follow him. Because in today's world, once you have the power of social media, tends to be a lot more powerful than even the brand or the restaurant itself. People are following for Walt's personality. He's fun. He reminds a lot of us of, our own parents or grandparents. And it's good to see a black man survive into, I want to say he's like in his late 60s, 70s, and he looks good for his age. He's dancing, he's up and about, he's mobile, he has all his faculties. That is a blessing, especially since so many black men end up in unfortunate situations where they may not even make it to old age. So a lot of people are looking at this like, look, I too can be 70 years old. I don't have to just rot in a, nursing home. I can cook and dance. And, this is inspiring people to see somebody older who's doing something positive, who's waking up and doing something that they love. That's inspiration for a lot of young people. So with that being said, tea sippers, let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Let me hear your thoughts on this entire situation. Do you think that this was simply a business partnership that didn't work out? Or do you feel like there's a lot more mess behind the scenes and Nick is trying to play it off and Mr. Tendernism, he's just trying to keep it cool, move on? And do you believe him when he says that they were working on the paperwork together? And last but not least, how do y'all feel about Mr. Tendernism, out here cooking for people and possibly opening up his own restaurant with a few other investors? I'm really happy for him. And I'm really happy to see where all this goes. So let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Leave a comment down below. Feel free to share this video and I'll talk to y'all later. Deuces.
If you want the latest news in the streets, join us and tune in for the tea. Breaking news with integrity. So tell your friends and your family. It's the Lovelyti TV show, bringing you good tea and good vibes. It's the Lovelyti TV show. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe.